Hello, it's Aki Anastasiou, Knowing is Power, and we're bringing you another episode from the IoT.nxt's headquarters here in Centurion. And we're going to be talking to a man who's responsible for a great deal in this organization. I'm talking about Nico van Zyl, Managing Executive of Engineering and also the Chief Technology Information Officer at IoT.nxt. Nico, thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here.
If I had to meet you in the elevator and ask you, Nico, what do you do at IoT.nxt? What would you say to me?
It comes down to basically looking at our strategy from technology and then also implementing that strategy.
So your role basically bridges technology and information. You bring it into one. How do you ensure that it delivers that cutting edge technology and the actionable insights to clients?
How do we achieve the balance between the two? Splitting the teams, more or less, just purely focusing on innovation. They prove of a concept, they take it live, they prove the value, and then they hand it over to the engineering teams to start developing that further, get into our platform, and then adding that value to all our clients.
So typically a client will come to you and say, listen, this is the problem we're trying to solve. You would go and you'd plan and action the entire technology stack that's needed to get that result, right? How do you ensure at IoT.nxt that the clients aren't just collecting data? Because at the end of the day, knowing is power, which is your payoff line. It's all very well collecting all the data, but how do you make sure that it actually delivers results, right? And that's where your innovation and your stack comes in, because that's what you guys focus on.
It starts off with the data, to get that data into a structured way and get into the database and make the data available. That's, let's say, the easy part of it. The complex part of it is adding that value to the clients. And each and every client's requirements is unique, but still similar. Whether we have a generator that's running down somewhere in the mine or generator running at a base station, it's the same type of generator that's running. So if we get a client with requirements to provide insights in terms of predictive maintenance on a generator, we can take the learnings from that generator running in a mine and apply it to the generator running on the cell site management. So it's combining all those requirements from different clients, providing that value to that specific client, but it also then take that into our product, build it in, and make that same type of value available to all our clients.
I was just thinking about the generator now. How much data is coming from just a generator? You rather want to know what's happening and know when something's going to go wrong before it does go wrong, right? But I'm thinking a generator, you need to look at the oil pressure, you need to look at the CO2 emissions. I mean, there must be tons of different sensors in a generator.
If you look at the controller and the generator combination, there's over 1,000 properties that you can pull from that generator. There's about 700 that we pull actively to provide insight in terms of dashboards and reporting and provide input into our ML models. It is a lot of data that flows through, and quite a bit of it needs to be analyzed and stored as well. So it's not just the endpoints that you store, but the value that you get from it, the actions that you take on it, the auditing events, all of that needs to be stored and provide insights on their own as well.
I love stuff like this because it really gets me so excited. You know, you think about all those bits of data that come in, the analytics and the machine learning that's happening in the background is astonishing. And that's what IoT.nxt does so well. Can you share a case where you've got this kind of information visibility directly involved with client performance? Because ultimately, when a client comes to you with a new product suite, they say, well, we want to cut downtime, we want to add efficiencies, we want to lower costs, we want to make this IoT stack work for us properly, right? Is there a case that you can share with us about that you've achieved all of these results?
So one of our clients, they've got hundreds of generators running in the field and they don't have visibility on all those generators. Often the power went down, they start a generator and the generator keeps on running. No one goes back and after the power was switched on. So we connected all of those generators, pull all of their data into our database, and we can now tell the client, okay, all these generators are running. So that's the first step, is just to give them insights into the environment. Going from reactive to say, okay, but we don't know what's going on. Why are we burning diesels? To being a bit more proactive, where we can show them, okay, these generators are running. We combine that generator data with the rectifier data, where we can say, okay, cool, your mains power is still running. Why is the generator running? What you have power available. Why is the generator running? Or we can look at the battery capacity and say, your batteries are 100%. Why is your generator running? So we can then provide that insights again, a level higher to the client and say, okay, now they can take proactive steps and let's switch off this generator. We take that then further that we're currently busy with. We say, okay, but we know all this. So we can train in a cloud. We know this type of information that we have. Let's build an ML model. Let's train it in the cloud. Then we deploy it on the edge and say, if you see the scenarios, then simple as just stop the generator when you've got mains and your mains is actually stable. You don't want mains to trip trip and your generator switch off and then you struggle with your batteries.
Yeah.
So there's some logic in there that we can say, you've got enough battery capacity to run for 2-3 hours. So why do you need to start the generators for load shedding? Just keep on running on your batteries. Going from reactive, proactive, all the way to predictive, we can give that insights to the client and they can take actions based on that. Or we can automate that actions for them and tell them, okay, great. We know this is what is happening. So let's automate it for you. There's no need for a human to take the action. We can take that and automate it.
I mean, just listening to you, all of that savings in diesel, the proactive analytics that you're picking up on the generators, knowing what their life cycle is, I mean, all of that is saving your client millions and millions of rands.
Potentially, definitely, yes. And it's not just in terms of saving costs in terms of diesel and energy and all that. It's also predictive maintenance stops someone from rolling out to the site to go fix a generator when some action could have been taken a week or two earlier to prevent that failure.
Yes.
So that's where the prediction comes in.
This is obviously a big scale one. You talk many generators, you talk about mines and that sort of thing. And it's such a critical component of the organization, right? Because if you don't have power, you can't run your business. I mean, we just talked about the savings in diesel, never mind the savings on downtime if it fails completely.
Correct.
Any other industries where you're using your technology stack?
Sticking to energy, one of the bigger retailers in South Africa, we're currently rolling out a project for them where we just get all the energy information from the energy meters. We pull it into our cloud base and we analyze the data. We then integrate with their SAP system. We pull the invoices from there and we compare it to a tariff engine to say, if this is your actual usage, this should be your tariff that you will ask on. This is the total cost. Why is there a difference between your SAP invoice and your actual invoice that we generated based on actual values or from the edge? And then they can compare it and they can go back to Eskom or the municipality and tell them, why is the discrepancy? Why are we overpaying? And they can negotiate that to get a refund or maybe a credit that can apply later on.
And I imagine operationally, a retailer that's running fridges, like open fridges, you can optimize fridges as well. I mean, just the refrigeration costs runs into millions. Now, if you can do something with the cooling system, it uses less electricity. Those are the kinds of innovations that you guys excel at.
Not just in fridges, we apply that onto base station monitoring as well. So we've in our Edge Raptor, the new tower sense that we're deploying, we've got a cooling algorithm that we developed with the client to say, okay, let's analyze the data that's coming in to determine which source is best to use currently. Is the cold air outside? Then why are we using the aircon? Just blow in the cold air. There's the one aircon running, but it doesn't cool it fast enough. It's above a certain threshold, so let's start the second aircon. Or both aircons are running, but it's inefficient, so let's just stop one. So there's quite a few tweaks that we can do on site, not just in terms of fridge monitoring, but also on various devices that help us cool down a cell site. We can use and stop in all those devices together, or none of them if it's not needed, and just pull in cold air from outside.
What is the Edge Raptor?
Edge Raptor is basically software that we deploy onto an Edge gateway. So it's software where you have multiple plugins, and all of that plugins represent a certain protocol that communicate to devices. We can then monitor certain devices on site, but also stream it up to the cloud for us to analyze further.
I love talking about that. It gets a bit technical, but it really puts into perspective the complexities of deploying the technology that you're talking about, because you got to collect all that data from different sources. I asked your CEO, Lazo, what keeps him awake at night, but I imagine that security probably keeps you awake at night, because that's part of your responsibility, right? And in this business, security and trust are paramount, right? What do you guys do at IoT.nxt's to ensure that the networks, the data, the insights remain reliable and safe? When you consider the backdrop of security and data, the importance of data globally, it must be something that keeps you awake at night.
Definitely, especially the way that AI is evolving over the last few months, not even years, is AI brings a different complexity to security. So someone can use AI to attack you, in terms of the our office network to get steal our IP or attack our product that's deployed at one of our clients. So yes, security is paramount, and we focus it throughout the development lifecycle to ensure that we cater for security vulnerabilities throughout and we address those vulnerabilities. But also when we deploy to clients, we make sure that we are experts in security and networking within a company that advise our clients, okay, edge devices are not known for their security. They're quite vulnerable, some of these devices. So how can we help you protect them? The Edge Raptor is the only thing that you're allowed to talk out of the network. You can control that, monitor it, and if there's any bidirectional communications you're not expecting, you can stop that from happening again. In terms of our product, yes, we need to make sure that that's secure as well. So we've got quite a good security team that do pen testing on all the components within in the platform, but also in the platform as a whole. And to ensure that we not just mark our own homework, we get industry experts as well that do pen tests on our platform, and they provide us with good reports that we can then go to our clients and tell them, there's the evidence, external company, you can trust our security.
So the Edge Raptor really helps you sleep better at night. Part of it. I mean, it obviously a lot more complex than that. From your perspective as the CTIO, you handle such a vast portfolio over here, and knowing his power is, the payoff line, which I love because it really adds and sheds light to any business. When you know what's happening in your business, it's a very powerful insight. How do you ensure that knowing his power comes to life? Because that's your role, to kind of plan ahead and make sure that all of the loose ends and all the dots are aligned.
That's on two folds. One is internal and the other is external facing. So if I focus on the internal side of it, we need to enable our employees as well. We have got a lot of data, and I'm not talking about edge data as in Excel spreadsheet, presentation, Word documents, PDFs that we receive from different vendors to tell this is how you can communicate with advice, and user manuals and all that. It's quite labor intensive to analyze all this documentation or to know where it is. You can catalog them, but someone needs to manually catalog them. So we use AI in that terms to make it easier and empowering our employees by making that or transforming the data into knowledge and making that knowledge available to them. The second part of it is external. So we also need to enable our clients. I mentioned the generator example. I mentioned the energy meters that we all at. So we pull all that information, but we don't just give insight clients. We take that data, we structure it to transform it again into knowledge, but we also provide that additional layer of reporting on top of it that gives a bit of insight. On top of that, we apply AI across the stack so that we provide that extra insights and automation to the clients as well.
Nico, obviously AI is a very important aspect of your business, and it's really evolving so fast. I mean, you just mentioned a second ago how quickly it's evolving. Agentic AI at the moment, and we're getting to a point where AI is going to be almost having like human-like intelligence in the next few years. Is it difficult to keep pace with this change that's happening?
It definitely is. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to extract our AI from the technology strategy. So currently, our AI strategy is now running next to our technology strategy because it's evolving quite a lot. AI itself has been around for a number of years, but now with the compute power that's out there, AI is now a possibility. It's not just a theory. You can actually implement it, and people are implementing it in ways and using it in ways that we never experienced before. I mentioned previously how AI is a risk for security, but also again in our product, we need to make sure that we embrace AI and use it in the product and provide that insights to our clients. And we need to make use of AI inside of the company to be more productive and efficient in the things that we do. We're not just going to implement an AI where it doesn't make sense. We're going to maybe look at partners to help us, because as AI involves, there's a lot of startups that you start using AI in ways that we never thought is possible.
You've got such an important role at IoT.nxt as, Chief Technology Information Officer, responsible for software engineering as well. But I guess that at the end of the day, when you go home and you reflect back on your job and what you input into your job, there must be a great deal of satisfaction that you get knowing that you're making a difference to society, to businesses. What would you say that is?
When you're a developer and you see your code running in production, it's quite satisfying. But now to have a platform that we deploy and we help clients achieve their goals, that's more rewarding. If we can see that the number of or the amount of energy that we save them, on diesel cost and all that, that's quite rewarding to see how different clients use our platform to achieve different goals and achieve the different savings across the board. Seeing that results at the client, that's what is satisfying.
We talked about AI, and nobody can predict what it's going to look like in 5 years, but what we do know, it's moving at an exponential rate. And of course, the speed at which compute happens and the speed at which data is moving, the results that you're getting back even faster. If you compare the insights that you would get, say, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago today it's almost instantaneous you're getting those results. The computational power is extraordinary that's happening in the cloud. Where is it all going?
One of our strategy that we want to do is move AI to the edge as well. So yes, it's great if you can do it in a cloud, but that's expensive. There's the security risk in that. You move all the data to a third party where you run it. So we want to take federated learning where we maybe train in the cloud, but we move that compute power to the edge, because we have these edge gateways where our edge Raptor software is running on that's sitting there idling at some time. We need to start harnessing that power and deploy our models to that gateways to start saving in terms of cost, because it's within our client's network and they can protect their data that's flowing in and out of the network as well. Just in terms of productivity and efficiency in the company, I mean, these mandate tasks that we normally need to do, a repetitive task, we can automate all that. And we're going to focus on the real interesting stuff of adding value to the platform, adding value to our clients.
Nico van Zyl, an absolute pleasure talking to you. Knowing is power. You hear that message over and over again, and you can see the passion that Nico has. Understanding that you're delivering measured insights to your customer. That's what knowing is power is all about.